YouTube. Let's have a little prepper evangelism. You've been healed. Need that white coat that I can knock people over with. I get the question constantly. It's a recurring and borderline overwhelming question over and over and over again. How do I get my insert here wife, husband, best friend, mom, dog, neighbor, granddad, whatever, involved in preparedness? We have spoken to this subject, dare I say, ad nauseum at this channel. However, apparently we need to continue to hit it. So we will continue to hit it. And I'm going to try and be as concise as possible as I can while piloting a vehicle. So, prepper evangelism. The first thing I will tell you, right, is obviously identify your target. Who are you trying to get on board? Like, properly identify the target. If it's, don't cast your pearls before swine. If we're going to stick with the evangelism metaphor, don't cast your pearls before swine. Okay? If they don't have eyes to see and ears to hear, don't waste your time. Well, I know, but it's my mom. Yep, I know. I've been there, I just had a serious conversation with my mom and said, listen, here's how it's going to go. Let me manage your expectations now. I love you, but I'm doing this for me, my wife, and my children. You have a safe place here, but only if you have food. I don't have food for you. You should get some food, right? But if it's like Uncle Bob, and Bob's like, y'all just a bunch of crazy preppers, ain't none of that ever gonna happen. I'm gonna get raptured up into the clouds by my Jesus before anything bad ever happens. You're wasting your time, okay? You're wasting your time. Next, okay? Next. Now, what if it's somebody whom you love deeply, but they don't get it? Then you self-sacrifice and you prep for them on their behalf. Well, yeah, that sucks. How much do you love them? Like, the end. That's the only way that I know to deal with it currently. You self-sacrifice and you prepare on their behalf. Not so that you can say, I told you so, but so that you can maintain their existence after the fact because you were right and they were wrong. And yes, it would be much easier if everybody was rowing the boat in the same direction. Absolutely. However, life is not ideal, so sometimes we have to make less than ideal decisions and commitments. So that's all kind of a preamble to, once you identify your target, I'm going to talk to Jim about this from work because, he and I have gone to the range a couple of times, and he seems like a pretty good guy, and I've met his wife and family at church, and I like him. Okay, good. Good place to start. No tinfoil hats. Yes. No tinfoil hats. What do I mean by this? You do not sit Jim down and say, listen, man, here's the deal. 15 miles south of Area 51, there's an area called S4. It's actually part of Area 52, and there, I know for a fact, there are 9 alien aircraft that they are working on right there, including nuclear fission, and it's gonna blah, 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 and the government's using that to weaponize against us so that they can blah, 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 in combination with the weather that's been weaponized against us, so we can blah, 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 and that's why I have 14 years of food hidden underneath my basement, and if I need you on board, man. Wrong. Do not start there, okay? Regardless of the validity of any or all of those statements, do not start there. You start with what is most relatable to the person. In a lot of ways, for most people, this is loss of a job, loss of income. Wouldn't it be great if you didn't have to buy groceries for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? I know many a person who's been in that position, and things weren't half as bad as they could have been because they had food and sanitation stocked up. Significantly reduced their expenses. So it can be loss of income. It can be an injury that results in a loss of income. or a change in lifestyle, right? They get injured and now they were this person and now they are this person. Having preps is just another form of insurance, right? It could be natural disaster. Holy cow, man. Natural disaster is something that the Father has put on my heart and put on my radar hardcore lately. It could be flooding. It could be a hurricane. It could be a tornado. It could be a fire. You should put in the YouTube search bar, Bear Independent, burn it down. If you want to hear a little bit about a fire. It could be all of these things that happen way more frequently than martial law and the coming civil war, man. A house fire or a job loss or a catastrophic accident or sickness, unfortunately, is not an if, it's a when. So that's where you start. That's where you meet people, is with the when this happens. And it's relatable. Everybody, unfortunately, knows somebody or has been somebody with cancer, or who has had a job loss or got injured or whatever. So start there. No tinfoil hats. Start with something relatable. Next, you start small. You do not start with, okay, now you got Jim's attention. You've identified the target. He's picking up what you're putting down as far as this preparedness protocol goes. You do not come to Jim and go, listen, today's, we'll just say, today's the 5th. By the 5th of next month, I need you to have a year's worth of food. Whoa, guy. Whoa. Yeah, that's the way it's going to have to be if we're going to play ball. You start small. Attainable goals. Man, that's how how do you get to the playoffs, right? One game at a time. Attainable goals. The professional is somebody who nails the basics repeatedly. It's the little things, one step at a time. One bucket of rice at a time. One box of ammo at a time. One package of gauze at a time, right? One row of seeds planted at a time. You eat the elephant one bite at a time. You start small and then you build from there. Okay, you do not want to scare somebody with the enormity of the situation, because then they get so overwhelmed that they throw their hands up and go, hey, I'm not playing anymore. I don't want to play this game. This sucks. Because there's no gratification. There's no sense of accomplishment. So you start small, you make the goals attainable so that people can check off the box and celebrate, hey, we got our 3 months worth of food. That's freaking awesome. Good job, Jim. It's awesome. Now, I want Jim to have 30 years worth of food. But man, we'll start at 3 months. That's freaking great. Good job, Jim. Right? So, attainable goals. And when they reach those goals, you celebrate. That's awesome, bro. I love that, man. Hey, and make it something tangible. Man, I'll tell you what, Jim, you get three months worth of food put up, I'll buy you 100 rounds of ammo next time we go to the range. Now, it depends on what you're shooting, but man, for 9mm, what's that, $22? 5.56, what's it, $30, if that, good. And invest some time into Jim and make the goal something that they can accomplish. Next, remain calm and logical. Do not get swept up in the hysteria. Did you see what happened with Iran? Yeah, I saw what happened with Iran, and I can't wait till we get over there and kill those jihadi bastards and blah, blah, blah. Simmer down. Simmer down. Nothing would make me happier than if we brought carpet bombing back. That entire region should be a glass desert. Glass desert, right? Why? Because the heat from a thermonuclear weapon turns sand into glass. That's why. However, that is a discussion for another time. That is not the discussion that you engage in when you are engaged in prepper evangelism. okay? Calm and logical. Yeah, man, I did see what's going on with Iran, and I'll tell you what, it's got me a little spooked, and here's why. Because when I couple what's going on with Iran compared with, or in addition to, the geopolitical turmoil we're seeing on an international level, and then here localized in the United States, and I know that we're going to be dealing with food scarcity because of probably the grand solar minimum and all this flooding that we've had. And then I can look at all the economic indicators and the fact that CNN and Fox News are talking about the next coming economic collapse. All of those things, Jim, all of those things say, hey man, we should probably be ready for something. Not, ah! None of that, okay? So calm and logical. Use real life examples. For example, I know somebody who got injured at work and they could not work for 6 months. Now, they were on disability for 6 months, but what they got paid on disability was significantly less than what their take-home pay would have been. But because they had a robust food storage pantry, they got through it as if it was no big deal, right? Because they had the insurance of food put up. And so you want to use examples like that to say, you know, make it relatable, continue to make it relatable to Jim or whoever it is that you identify as a prime candidate for this discussion. Help people get started. You don't want to say, hey man, you know, and resist the urge. I think you should share this video. I think you should share every video I've ever made just to, you know, stick a log into YouTube's eye. Oh, there's no road over here. Cool. For example, getting back to, you know, preparedness, what are you going to do, Jim, when your road washes away? Or, you know, Jim, you should really listen to your wife because I'm pretty sure she just told you earlier today that the culvert around the corner was washed away. Okay. Damn you, Jim. Pay attention to your wife next time. Now you got to do a 63-point turn on YouTube. Come on. In the ditch. Woo! All right. Next. Getting back to help people get started. Good deal. Help people get started. You do not want to, you know, shoot them a text with half a dozen YouTube videos and say, watch all these videos, and that's how you do it. That is one thing. But go do it with them. Man, you know, just pick a Saturday or a Sunday or a Tuesday evening or whatever. This is a great function of a MAG, mutual assistance group. Hey, on, you know, the 25th, we are, you know, Bob or whoever, Sally, is going to give a demonstration on how to properly store food in a bucket using Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers and blah, 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 blah. Okay, now to some people, that's going to be boring as hell because they already got 1,000 buckets put up. To other people, they don't have one put up yet and they want to see it, they want to touch it, they want to get up close and look at it. Okay, so do that. Do that. Help people get started. You know, help somebody build an AR. Take them to the range and show them how to shoot it, how to, you know, all the safety functions and how to not kill themselves with it, right? Show somebody how to put together an IFAC. Teach somebody how to hoe a row in a garden and how to weed it. Right? Show somebody, take a vested interest in these people because ultimately you want them to have a vested interest in you so that you're building your group and you're building competency and context within your group so that you have a good group of people. One of the things that you can probably discuss with people would be the government versus personal responsibility. The government's not coming to save you. They're not coming to enslave you. They're not coming. They don't have it. You are not on their radar. They are not coming. And I differ from a lot of YouTube channels based around preparedness by saying things like that because I know it to be true. I've experienced it. I've heard it directly from the mouth of these agency directors. We don't have the budget for that. We don't have the manpower for that. We couldn't do that if we wanted to, which we don't. They're not coming. They're not coming to save you, and they're not coming to enslave you. Do they have the technology? Sure. Do they have the manpower? No. Do they have the budget? Hell no. They don't have it. They're not coming after the hurricane or tornado to come help you clean up. And they're not coming after the economic collapse to round you up and put you in Walmart FEMA camps. They're not coming. They can't. Maybe for some of you who still insist on living in urban areas, maybe. They're not coming out here. It takes 40 minutes to get an ambulance out here. They're not coming here. So balance that against personal responsibility, okay? Personal responsibility. If they're not coming and they can't come, who is coming? It's just you and me, Jim. It'd be good if we were squared away, wouldn't it? Yes, it would. Another argument you can make is the biblical argument for preparedness. By the time of Abraham, the world was on its third famine. Third, by the time of Abraham. The story of Joseph is clear. 7 years of fat, 7 years of lean. Okay, that's something you don't see every day. We got a road runner fighting a raccoon, and it's daytime. So that thing's probably rabid. And the roadrunner should know that it's a coyote that it's looking for, not a raccoon. So there's, the parable of the 12 virgins, right? Have oil in your lamp. Be ready. And there's a lot of people say, well, I'm going to be taken care of. I believe that the Lord will provide. To which I answer, how do you know that the way the Lord is going to provide is not by convicting a Christian like me to stack food to the rafters? How do you know that? Short answer, you don't. But I have a conviction to do these things from my Creator. And I read my Bible and I pay attention to what's going on in the world, and I see a lot of parallels. And that convicts me to do these things so that I can operate from a position of strength to be a blessing to the kingdom when the time comes. But one of the ways I can be a blessing to the kingdom is now ringing the bell of preparedness and telling people, get ready now. Because maybe the way the Father provides for you is me stocking food on your behalf, even though we've never met. Or maybe the way the Father provides for you is by me telling you right now, Jim, you need to stock some food. Okay? Maybe that's the provision. Well, the Israelites ate manna from heaven for 40 years. They sure did. I think I'll be eating beans and rice from a bucket. So, and whatever I can grow in my garden, whatever meat I've got on the hoof. So there is a biblical onus for preparedness, and it's not just that, oh, the Lord will provide. He sure did. He sure will. And maybe that provision is people like me stacking food to the rafters. And wouldn't it be great if we were both stacking food to the rafters? Lastly, remain calm and logical. Yes, remain calm and logical. Do not, I repeat, do not engage in hysteria. There's enough of that already, right? And as things continue to get worse, as we slowly decline and slip into a new normal, there will be more and more anxiety, more and more hysteria, and I feel it is our job to be the calm in the storm, and to operate from positions of strength, to be the people that everybody looks to for leadership, for wisdom and discernment, for strength, right? So there's no fear mongering, there's no doomer porn, there's none of that. It's we have to be good. If I'm good, I can help get you good. If I'm not good, there's not a chance in hell I can help you. It doesn't work that way. So I've got to be good. And part of me being good is to remain calm and logical in all things. In all things, right? And the more preparation I make now, the easier it is for me to remain calm and logical in the moment. Directive 1, identify a person or persons in your life who are interested in preparedness type things. If not preparedness itself, preparedness type things. Man, they like blacksmithing, they like gardening, they love to hunt, they're good at fishing, they're whatever, you know, that guy's a paramedic, that lady, she works in the ER, and yada, 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 yada. Figure out who those people are. Literally make a list, man. Directive 2 is figure out your initial approach and strategy. How are you going to approach them? And this does not need to be cookie cutter textbook for everybody. Improvise, adapt, overcome. Right? The method you use for Sally might be different than the method you use for Joe, which is different than the method that you used for Todd. Okay? But figure it out. Identify what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. And then directive 3 is have a logical conversation. Keep it relatable. Repeat. Continue to do it. And then be the example. Be the example is possibly the largest point in this entire thing. Be the example, man. You are the de facto leader in this. Be the example. Show them how it's done. Your attitude, your ambitions, the way that you carry yourself, the way that you conduct yourself, your proclivity to degrade into hysteria, like, be the example. And if you do all of those things, you'll have a higher rate of success engaging in prepper evangelism. So thank you guys. If you've seen any value in this, I'd love it if you'd consider coming over and seeing us on Patreon. The link is always down in the description. Patreon more and more allows us to be us and do what we do. Every day the YouTube algorithm gets more and more aggressive against us, and truthfully it's only a matter of time until this face doesn't live on YouTube anymore, because they've made it next to impossible for us to function here. So we have zero censorship on Patreon, and we're thankful for it. And I'm thankful for you guys. So I pray blessings on your day, and give it a shot. Go be the example. Shalom.